Welcome to Teddy and Tony Everyday Conversations. Two guys, two mates getting together on a weekly basis to have a chat about what's going on in our lives, the lives of others, of who we know, and just general conversation. Pretty lighthearted, G-rated stuff. Tony, how are we feeling?
Yeah, and also to add, totally unscripted.
People have been
We
asking, they're
have
saying, Is it scripted?" I wish.
I wish it
Imagine the
too.
prep
I
work
wish it
on that.
was no, exactly. And I've had a lot of people ask me, so surely you guys script this and surely you guys know what each other are saying. And I actually say, no, we have no idea what the other person's going to say, let alone half the time what we're going to say. So
That's
it's
true. Most of the time, I just shut off my brain, let the mouth start talking, and words just start coming out, and pray that I don't say anything offensive to anyone because we're trying to get listeners, not lose them, right?
no, exactly. And on top of that, we're not really re-recording anything. We're not really editing anything. It's just kind of one free-flowing conversation.
It
Hence
really
why we
is.
end up
Yeah.
in really weird places.
No, look, it
um,
100% is. I mean, look, again, I don't think people understand how lazy we can be. If we were doing all this editing and being unnatural and then coming back and editing and chopping and changing, that would take up too much time. And you like to go on your walks. We like to eat
yep.
food. There's Netflix to watch. So
We
that's
have
that's
work,
pretty. That's
like actual gainful employment.
funnily enough, it's
Other
not paying the bills.
no, someone else pays us to do work for them, so we can't really encroach on that space or time.
Exactly. So, look,
um,
everyday conversations broken down into 5 segments. And look, do you want to give us an intro into the first section?
yes, so the first section generally is like, what's our favorite highlight or moment of the week? It's quite varied week to week, and especially given the situation we're in, one might think, well, what can there be that's been a positive thing in the week? But what's yours this week, Teddy?
I'm so glad you asked me because it's very simple, and you just highlighted there's not a lot going on, but there's some simple things that are happening. So the other day, I think I went and well, it would have been a weekday during the week of work. It would have been maybe a Tuesday, Wednesday, but went and walked to get a Vietnamese roll for lunch. Walking back
Yep.
through Collingwood, and it's hard to make eye contact and smile at people now. But there was an old Vietnamese lady in her garden and just walking along, me being silly, just saying hello. And she's like, "Oh, hey, how you going? Would you guys like some chilies?" I just thought that was the nicest little gesture from this unknown person. Look, turns out we've got a truckload of chilies in the freezer and the
Yep.
fridge, but just that nice gesture, saying hello to someone and then being offered some chilies in response is something I've not had before. But that was probably my highlight of the week.
No, that's great, and especially in like times like this, just being nice and kind to everyone, let alone offering chilies and the like, and the fact that you even said hello. I mean, that in itself, I think, is great. And if you remember how we were talking about last week, there's people on the street who like are smiling, or we think something's up. So hopefully you didn't come across like that, but I don't think so because you got
Yeah,
off the
as I was maneuvering towards it. No, it was
yeah,
very. Look, I had food in my hand. Mrs. was with me, so she makes it look as though I'm very safe to be around because
that's
guy with partner,
it,
everything's fine. It's all good.
It's so fun. It's so funny you say that because me and my partner have exactly the same thing. Because when the missus is around, everyone's just a lot more nice and pleasant. I guess it makes all the difference.
So they pretty much see you two together and think that's safe. No need to be feared or fearful of this person, and they don't call the police, which is what they do when you're by yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean,
Not really. Look, you by yourself is quite harmless and approachable. Look, I would let you look after my children if I had any. But yeah, you're a safe person, so I understand that.
I
But
do appreciate that. Well, talking about children, by the way, happy Father's Day to
all the
anyone who's
dads
listening
out
who's a
there,
father.
yes.
All the dads out there.
And
Um,
may you be happy with some of the news that come out today from local government. Hopefully, there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Won't go too much into that, but longer walks, later curfews. I'm feeling a little bit more positive. We're getting into spring now, so spring this week, and
the weather's definitely kicking
the
on.
weather's good. But it also means that we're going to start getting swooped by magpies. That's what I think of when I think of spring, getting swooped by magpies. But look, I'm pretty sure magpies or not getting the police called on you is not your highlight of the week. What is your highlight of the week?
So my highlight this week, I guess being in lockdown for a period of time, I kind of wanted to do something with my partner that was a little bit different because naturally around September, it's a good time to travel overseas in a lot of countries, whether it's Europe, Southeast Asia, whatever it may be. So, what I went ahead and attempted to do was create an indoor picnic, which involved, going around town trying to put together, like cheese and fruits and, setting up with pillows and candle and everything like that to create a space where you're at home, but you feel like you're not at home because that's really all we got at the moment is to kind of visualize being away and
True.
setting up a scene as such. And let's just say that this is something I have never done before, and I had no idea how it was going to turn out. And it did involve a lot of kind of running around, all legally, of
Yeah.
course, because I was going out to purchase goods and the like,
Once a
and supporting the
day,
local community.
60-minute walks, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to fit it in with those constraints and also the challenge of a lot of things actually not being open. So having to buy even a platter because I did not even own a platter, but I had to buy one from the. I,
You're
I
lucky
walked
to
to.
have plates.
I mean, that's the thing, right? I even had to buy a couple plates. I had to buy an actual cheese knife. I mean,
Look,
so I had to
I'll
buy
admit, I
lots
don't
of
think I
different.
have a cheese knife, so that's okay.
Yeah, no, and I thought, okay, there's a place near, where I am, but I walked in to the place and I thought, oh, I can just walk in and buy something. Turns out you can't. It's click and collect. And then I asked him, I kind of need this in about 36 hours. So how does this work? They said, well, you can order online, and if we can do it, we'll try and get it done for you. And luckily, it all worked out. And so I set that up, and it was really good. And it was kind of something I can recommend is just something a bit different. Like it doesn't have to be to that extent, but you can create spaces within your home and, it kind of feels like you're not at home. So I thought that was definitely a highlight and a shout out there to people who actually do organize all these kind of things because there is a lot of effort and you really appreciate people who organize events. And hopefully once this, things ease up that these people can go back into business
Yeah,
to
for
help others.
sure, for sure. And look, I saw some photos of what you did. Very impressive, especially for someone that hasn't done that before. I don't know if I could have done that. And the click and collect thing's pretty useful. But for context, we're in some pretty heavy restrictions where we are. So that's why you've got these limitations. Click and collect. What is it? Shopping once a day. You can only go on 60-minute exercise. Just for anyone outside of our zone. But for anyone in our zone within the Melbourne sort of Victorian region, I think they know exactly what we're talking about.
They are very well across it. And like you said, though, the news today, I know it wasn't what everyone might wanted to have heard, but it definitely at least gives a bit of like a positive outlook, like similar to what we were saying, week in, week out, that, things are looking up. So we just got to keep doing it, what we're doing,
For sure.
and we'll get there.
For sure. Well,
Having Bob.
I guess that moves us on to the next one. Because we were talking about click and collect, but look, is something caught your attention this week? I know you're just coming off some pretty good highs with the event, the new event career that you've got. But has anything caught your attention?
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that I just kind of randomly read, and once again, disclaimer: not a medical expert in any shape or form, and I did attempt to validate some of this information myself
God, what have we got?
to a limited
What have
capacity.
we got coming?
You have no idea, do you? No, what I found out is that humans, we actually have 99.9% of the same DNA as each other. And which I thought that's actually quite interesting because I didn't realize it was that close because you kind of think, we're all
Yeah,
similar
because you
and
put you
alike.
put
But
me and you next to like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you're thinking 99 point what? Surely it's closer to about
exactly.
70 or 60.
Oh, yeah, or 30 sometimes, depending
If
on
we're
what you're
lucky. If
comparing
we're
to,
lucky,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, so basically it's like, apparently someone kind of, did this really well. They said that if you printed your entire genetic code, it would be 262,000 pages or 175 large books. So imagine that for bedtime
Yeah.
reading,
I'm assuming it's
And,
A4. We're going A4 here, yeah?
yeah, I would believe so. And then of those pages, only 500 are unique to us. So we just
Oh,
share
wow.
substantial genetic code, but it's only that small amount that's what makes us all different. Like our eyes and our appearance and all that, and then add I think the personality, which is different, and like a layer altogether. So that was actually quite amazing because sometimes you think you see someone, you go, A, how am I even related to
Yeah,
this person?
totally.
Or B,
Yeah.
how are we of the same
Mm.
actual, species? But hey, I got some questions for you. What do you reckon is our how much DNA do you think we share with, say, chimpanzees?
I'm gonna go 93.8.
That is a very precise,
I'm putting it out there, man. It's like the price is right, but this is
very
the
close.
DNA is right.
Correct, 96%,
Okay.
uh, which actually is pretty close.
Yeah.
What about domesticated cattle?
Domesticated cattle, I'm gonna go 28.7.
80%.
No. No, okay. Okay.
And, I got another one for you. Bananas,
Bananas. Okay. 22%.
50%.
50%. So we're related to a
So,
banana. Is that what you're saying?
it's like I said, not a specialist in this, and my understanding is there's a lot more, nuances to how genetic code work in sharing, but yeah,
I
we
think you've laid
share
on more
50%
questions
of our
than
genetic
answers here,
code.
my friend.
Exactly. So, maybe I'll study something in between, and maybe someone, or maybe a specialist could explain it to us during the week. And
I don't think we
but
should
it is
broach
funny.
such specific scientific discussions ever again without a specialist, guest specialist on the show. Dr. Carl, we'll get him on
No,
here. Someone, anyone but us, anyone but us.
yeah, yeah, I know, right? So that's why I thought it was interesting. But it makes me think. Sometimes you see someone, you go, are they related to a
Yeah.
potato? But
That's
now
what I
maybe
was
we
thinking.
are.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I will never look at a
so
banana
that
ever again in a basically in the way I've looked at
treat it with
previously.
respect.
I know.
Treat it with respect. But I
Do
mean,
bananas cry? That's the question I've got right now.
and then, but I guess, at the end of all this, it just shows you, like, the fact that we share so much DNA. It shows that once again, we're all similar in our own way. Therefore, you just kind of respect everyone the same way because, end of the day, we're all coming from the same source, one way or another.
That was heavy.
So
That was heavy. Okay,
yeah,
mine, not even close to that. What caught my
yeah.
attention during the week is you were talking about click and collect just a moment ago, right? Very useful service. I'd not used it before until just this week. So during the week, call it Wednesday during the week, today's Sunday, went down to Office Works. I needed to get just a little adapter for my laptop going to the screen. I went online, booked it, and it said you can pick it up by Friday. And I'm thinking, that's 2 days from now. That's not too bad. About 30 minutes later, I get an email saying your item is ready. So
Oh
talk
wow.
about under promising and over delivering, right? I thought this is amazing. So that tick that caught my attention. I go down there. Now this is the main part that caught my attention. I go down there. There's people lined up, but they haven't done the click and collect thing, and they're basically
So what are they doing? Are
they're
they
trying to line
sorry, go
up
on.
to go into the shop, and then one guy started really cracking the sads that he couldn't go in because he'd ridden down there on his bike. And I just thought, all right, we're
Oh
four and a
no.
half, nearly 5 weeks into lockdown, into this stage 4 restrictions. And I'm thinking, is this not just common knowledge? I mean, do you have power in your house? Do you have running water? Do you have a TV? If you've got, at least two of those three things, I think you should know that you can't just rock up to Officeworks and start demanding entry into the store to make purchases. Not how it's working, but that caught my attention during the week, and I just didn't realize. I just didn't realize that was
There are
something
people.
people were going through. I'm questioning what else is going on in their lives. But look, that's my little rant, and that's something that caught my attention during the week.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, with that guy in particular, like, has he not noticed when he's walked out, there's, like, not many cars and
Yeah,
everyone's wearing
he's like, wow,
masks?
everyone's got the
Like,
day off. This is amazing. I can just ride
every
everything.
single
Yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah. You just imagine if that's what he's doing 4.5 weeks in. You imagine how not adhering to the rules this guy would be.
Well, I was gonna say, and then you probably wonder, like, is he related to a banana or
Yeah.
a potato, which I almost
Yeah,
answered in the
you
previous.
watch the CCTV from Woolworths, and he's in there like 10 different times a day. Goes in to buy some eggs, goes in to buy some booze, and you're just thinking, hold on, he's missed the memo. But that's cool. Look, he looked like a nice guy. I'm sure he means well. But yeah, no, click and
Yeah,
collect,
yeah.
very impressive. Not so much impressed with that guy. Anyway,
It's kinda in the name, isn't it? You click and then you collect. You don't click, you know what I mean? You don't line up, click, not click, and then collect.
he tried, and we can forgive him for that. But look, that was my little thing that I saw. So
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, is that also what annoyed you during the week, or was it something else?
look, it didn't so much annoyed me, but the thing that annoyed me during the week, and this just isn't an annoying thing, but one thing the missus does is she keeps the phone on like a pretty high vibration on, so you can, when people call through and you got
Ah,
it on silent, that thing,
and
she
it's
likes to
vib
leave it on overnight, and just in case some emergencies come
ah,
through. And I find that if you get
Yep.
those random messages through the night, like there's how often is someone in hospital and you need to go out and help them? I'm thinking the sleep is
Touch wood,
something.
not often.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. But I'm thinking
Yep.
sleep is something that you should be able to preserve to, just get those Z's when you need them. So that was just not so much annoyed me. I don't want to get in any trouble here for bringing this up. She knew I was actually going to call it out in the show. But that's just something
Yep.
that I paid attention on because I was on the next level down in the townhouse that we're at, and I heard it and I thought, "Whoa, that is loud."
Yeah, that's I've had the discussion with some friends before where they'll tell me do not message after 11 because I'm in bed, and I said, "Well, isn't your phone on silent?" And they said, "No, no, no, it's on vibrate." And some people don't even have it on vibrate for emergencies. But then I thought if you put on like I don't know, what particular phone, like with an iPhone, you can put do not disturb, but then you can make it like a favorites list. So therefore, like family members, friends, they can still call through, but anyone else that's sending messages, it won't buzz or make a
That's a good way
sound.
to do it. That's a good way to do it.
That's how I generally have my phone because it's funny you mentioned the buzzing because something that I've been thinking about is I actually haven't had a ringtone. Like I haven't had it on like actual
Yeah.
sound for so many years.
Ma
My phone.
Mate, unless people are on your list, they go straight to voicemail. I don't know if you want me to be sharing that.
Correct.
That is just weird. No offense. I mean, so
No,
you gotta make it onto the
it's
acceptance
useful.
list, otherwise you're gonna get filtered by the gatekeeper, which is my voicemail, and I'll call you back. Hold my calls on everyone until we
Yeah,
become good friends is your
it's
motto.
Tony's VIP list. I mean, that's pretty much what it is,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah, and then once you get on there, you're like, "Phew, I'm feeling good about myself now." But yeah, no,
Well,
totally.
have you noticed when you called me, it comes to me?
That's true. That's true. That took a little while, but I'm glad we got there. But look, has anything annoyed you during the week? Forget about me. That was
Uh,
my little piece.
No, yeah, no, it's funny, yeah, that you mentioned that. Mine's actually also about my phone. I've noticed as well in the last couple of weeks, my battery is actually completely destroyed to the extent that I am charging my phone maybe 6 hours of the day. And luckily, we're in lockdown,
Yeah,
so I'm at home.
yeah,
But it's like it would take 2 hours to charge to 100%, and I'm pretty much using it for. I mean, we're all using the phone a little bit more. If you remember from like the first couple of podcasts where we were talking about the increase in phone usage. And now the phone will last about 2 hours. Like it just dies completely. And it's just got worse and worse. And I feel like I'm tethered to the wall. Like if I ever need to talk, I need to
yeah.
do anything, I'm pretty much sitting next to
Have
the
you seen
wall.
those backpacks that have the
Um,
USB cord coming out?
I have.
I think
They
they're for
did
sale
remind
on
me of
like
those
Code.
hats.
So sorry, what do they remind you of?
You know those hats which
Like a
have
beer hat.
yeah, like with like you can put like a tube.
Yeah.
It's like that, except it's a tube for the phone.
Yeah, it's like something
But
from the Jetsons. It's almost like you're I don't know, there's just a thing coming out of your bag. That's how connected we are to the phones. But in your case, it's not so much connected, although you are connected to the phone. It's more just the battery's dying. Mine's given way as well.
it
I'm charging after an hour.
do you find that as like because this phone is now it's its third year, it's getting closer to the new cycle of phones, and I don't know, I always had this theory that when the phones get a bit older, like the new updates tend to just slow it down
I don't know if it's the
or
updates.
make the battery.
Look, it might be. It might be that, but I think it's a little with the battery. I think it's just as time goes on. There's only so many times you can drain it down, recharge, drain it down, recharge. And if it's on, if you're 3 years in and you got 2 years, 24-month contracts that we got in Australia, or I used to, then I think
Yeah.
just cycle over every 24 months. I'm getting close to it on my one. Anyways, that's phone talk, I
I'm
guess.
just Yeah, yeah, I'm just waiting. But I was gonna say I don't think I'll be doing the backpack thing because if I'm walking around town with backpacks and tubes and stuff, I don't know. Probably shouldn't.
You've crossed over. You've crossed the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally, totally.
Um, yeah, so, what did you see anything interesting on, social media
I did.
this week?
It's little no, it's not so much heavy, but it's a little solemn, I guess, just with Chadwick Boseman, the actor of Black
Yeah.
Panther fame. After he passed away, which was last Saturday, I saw a little thing about Denzel Washington and their relationship. Did you see any of this?
I actually saw, just a headline, something about that, he paid his tuition or something. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I read.
Yeah. So
I didn't read
it was
into
on
it.
Facebook,
Yep,
and it was a little video that I
yep.
saw, and it was along the lines of, without Denzel Washington, that there would be no Black Panther. Watch the video, and it's him at some giving a speech. So Chadwick Boseman giving a speech at some award ceremony honoring Denzel Washington, and he tells a story how one time when he was trying to get into acting years and years ago, he got a check, and it was some mystery person that had paid his tuition. And I don't know if he knew at the time or a little while after he found out it was Denzel Washington. Never told him, never reached out to him. Goes on, has a career, gets famous. Black Panther comes out. And then I think it's at the award ceremony for Black Panther, one of the award ceremonies, because it won numerous. He goes over to Denzel Washington, maybe backstage, and says, "Hey, just wanted to say thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here." And then Denzel's response was like, "Oh, so you owe me money," which I thought was pretty funny. And then at the
Yeah.
speech where he's honoring Denzel, he basically says, "Look, without Denzel Washington, there is no Black Panther. Not just because I was in it, but for all the actors that he sort of paved the way for of my generation." And then you look back at Denzel Washington's legacy, and there's African American actor, first African American to win an Academy Award for his role in Training Day for that particular
Yeah.
leading role. But yeah, look, he's obviously led pretty big legacy. So it was just a really heartfelt speech, and I saw that after he passed away, and I thought, how cool's Denzel? Obviously, rest in
Yeah,
peace,
no.
Chadwick Boseman, and everything, but it
Yeah.
was just a cool story.
Yeah, no, that's great, and it's amazing sometimes there's all these things behind the scenes that we generally do not see, sometimes till it's much later,
And if you did
and
see
yeah,
all
no,
the
it
stuff behind the scenes, then you've got someone that's going around and banging the drum for praise and feedback when Denzel's just quietly issuing out these little things that help people, and he gets called out. Karma comes around.
yeah, no, exactly, and it makes you think, like, the reverse situations, like, how often have you seen on social media where some influencer or someone is saying, "Oh, look, I'm doing this for, the homeless people," then they video it and
That
stuff, and you go, "Look, it's all
Oh mate, I've got
it's
to
all well
stop
and
you.
good, right?"
I've got to stop you. The
Yeah,
thing is, because I quite often
yeah,
I'll go around giving money to people, especially in my area,
yeah,
because you've got the two worlds. You've got pretty well off people, but then you've got people that are sort of asking for money on the street. And I
exactly
thought
the
about the
same, yeah,
type
in
of
my area.
person that would actually want to get that videoed and then put onto social media. You've just talked about it,
Yep,
but that is
yep.
a different level of, I don't know if shameless is the word, but it's something that I think is negative.
I also believe it's negative. I mean, look, it is good that they're helping this person, but then my thing is, what is their intention? Like, if they're showcasing this, is this so that you can maybe promote other people to do the same? And if that's the case, you're like, that's not the worst, but it really depends on the person and the intention. Or is
Yeah.
it more, look at me, I'm doing a good deed
To get
type thing?
likes.
Like,
It's
it's
to get likes.
to
Yeah,
get likes and to get like promotion.
if it is the first one you mentioned, then let's give him the benefit of the doubt. That's nice.
Correct.
But if it's for the second one, which a lot of the time these days when people are looking for that sort of feedback and appreciation, I think people would do that. I don't think that's above people. There's people out there that would do that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like for example, I think over every week, similar to your area, there are people asking for money or food. And generally, if it's food or it's money, I generally offer to say, look, I'll purchase you, if you want something from the cafe or you want something from 7-Eleven, what would you like? And then you just do it. But you don't kind of go and spread the word. Like, I mean, I don't,
Yeah,
you don't. We
like
just we just do this as
hey
humans, right?
everyone, I'm handing over $10 right now. Hey, can you see me? Can you see me? I mean, that's
Yeah, and I was
everyone's
gonna say,
doing
like,
that.
what happens if they record it and it's a bad recording? Do they redo it for the sake of like who knows, right? Like that's the thing. Like
Seinfeld,
it's
Seinfeld, the pizza shop, when he puts
yeah.
he's putting the money in, but he doesn't see him, so George goes to take it out, and then
Yes,
he gets
I remember. It's like, are you taking out
the calzone there. That's the one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's amazing how many things we can relate back to
too
Seinfeld. Like, I
many.
think
We
anything in
could
life,
do it probably every
it's,
section of this show. The 5 segments in this show, we could probably relate back to Seinfeld. But then we'd have, the people from Seinfeld giving us a call and saying there's copyright issues. I don't even know if we can talk about Seinfeld. We've talked about it in one previous episode. Now it's again.
uh,
I mean, how hot
and
can we be?
Friends, and given that they make so much money, maybe this is how they're making that recurring income with royalties because we keep mentioning it.
Happy to not talk about Friends
Every
anymore. So let's look. If there's a risk of us contributing to the income that Friends generates, I would like to mitigate that risk by just stop talking about it right now. If you're okay with that, I don't
so
want to tell you what to do.
I was I was gonna say, let's call it not Seinfeld.
Okay. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. The arch nemesis of the bad version of Seinfeld. But that's cool.
Yeah. No,
I think I've lost track of what we were talking about
no,
completely.
it's fine. It's social media.
Social media. Yes.
So
Chadwick Boseman. Yes.
yes. Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
The So what I saw this week, it was quite fascinating. Well, not fascinating, but it was I saw two little kind of clips, which one was where there was this festival in somewhere in Southeast Asia. I don't know if you saw this, and there was like kites. There was a lot of kites being flown. Now, this massive
I think I've
kite,
seen it. Are you sure
yes, this
Taiwan?
massive
Taiwan,
this
maybe?
yeah,
Yeah,
Taiwan,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
wasn't sure which country
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
So a massive, like, kite kind of
I was
is
gonna
flowing through this
yeah.
crowd, and then somehow the end gets tagged onto this, little girl, maybe 3 or 4 years old, and it turns out he got wrapped around her neck, and the kite flew straight in the air, and she got literally transported around the air, and she was flying in the air on this random kite that's complete I think it was I wasn't not sure if it was tethered or not, but it was kind of just it was crazy how high this kid got flying in the air, and for like 5 minutes, there's people screaming, scrambling, and then they're just trying to follow the this kite, and it looked pretty intense. But then at the way that she flew in the air, it almost was kind of comical, which I don't
That's
know
why
why I
I'm
would find it.
laughing, but now I take back the laugh. Was it actually wrapped around her neck?
Yeah, so initially it looked like people thought it was a backpack. It turns out he went around her neck, like it was
Oh,
just a freak
no. See,
one in like a
it
billion
doesn't seem
chance of
clear.
occurring.
It doesn't seem clear in the video. It looks almost like they're just holding on to it.
No, 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 dude, it went around her neck,
I
and then
retract all of
luckily,
the
so
laughs.
it
People are gonna
kind
think
of
I'm horrible for laughing at this, but it does when you look it up, it does look kinda comical. Like
it looked
those
very
car wash things
comical.
that blow around at the car wash, the tall cylinder things. That's
Yeah,
what it looks like.
I was like gonna say, but the thing is, luckily after 5 minutes, it somehow she managed to dip down, and then the people they grabbed her, but it could have very easily ended another way. And if it had, I probably wouldn't have brought it up because it was
No.
it was a good ending, positive ending. But it was comical at first because when the first time I watched it, the way she flew in the air, I thought this seems like a Dragon Ball Z or some sort of cartoon, like the way she just flew straight up. And yeah, that was pretty full on, but luckily, touch wood, everything happened well. And yeah, there's so many things that could have gone wrong, but it ended well, so
Ooh,
that was good.
heavy, but good ending though.
and
Good
the
ending.
and the yeah, no, good ending. And the second one was there was a video of a you might have seen this too. Someone was paragliding with an instructor in the Alps, like really high
No,
up,
I haven't seen it.
and so anyway, so it's from the view or the camera of the instructor, right? So you can see this person in front, and she's got her iPhone on a selfie stick, and she's watching it, and like she's trying to fix it up and everything, and then the phone fell from the sky,
Yikes. Okay.
and I was like, wow, because have you gone paragliding before or anything
No, the
of
closest
that
I've
nature?
done is it was in Thailand, and it's where a boat takes off and you're on the shore, and then you're
Oh
kind of
yes,
so
yes.
kind of
Yep.
that. That was pretty cool because you get up a bit, but not paragliding, jumping off a mountain or anything like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if you ever like been on somewhere where there's heights and you have your phone. Are you ever paranoid it might just slip out or fall out
Yeah,
or
I mean,
something?
I wouldn't be pulling it out of my pocket depending on where it is. If you're taking photos and there's a bit of like a cliff, I'll get close and hold on to it. But if it's something like
Yeah.
paragliding like that, no way. Unless it's tethered to you.
Well, that's what she probably thought the selfie stick was. So I mean, if I don't know what selfie stick she used, but I am always paranoid about dropping my phone somewhere, or sometimes you get that feeling where you've gone somewhere and you come back and you can't feel it in your pocket, and you're like, "Where's my phone gone?"
Yeah,
Have you had
not
that
good,
feeling?
not good. Getting out of like an Uber or taxi and then just feeling, hold on, that's usually, oh no, my phone. Where's my phone? That's
Yeah.
happened before.
Yeah, and then you kind of think, wow, like, do you back up your phone? Because that's something that
Nah,
people always
nah, and
recommend, and something I'm really
still haven't
bad,
learned.
really bad at
Still
doing.
haven't learned that lesson. But when I did get that phone, that was one thing I thought was cool about Uber is that I was able to go on, find who I booked it from, logged in online, saw who the person was, and then I contacted them directly. They brought it back. Well, they tried to bring it back, but for whatever reason, couldn't drop it off. The next day, went and picked it up. Turns out they lived just around the corner from me, and just gave him fifty
Oh wow,
bucks. He was like, "No, no, no," and I'm like, "Mate, just please take the
you
50
easily
bucks."
could have sold this,
Yeah.
logged it. Yeah, could
Just
have
the
done
pain of
anything.
losing your phone. $50, all yours. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you found it. Once I left my house keys in the Uber, and they couldn't find it, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get home and someone's gone through your cupboard.
Nah,
Yeah.
then we changed the locks
Anyways,
straight away.
look, mate, you're making me raise the game on the stuff that I'm bringing. The next segment of the show and the final segment of the show for
Yep,
anyone that doesn't know is
yep.
you should try this. So it's where we share something with each other. And I'm going to let you decide who you want to go first. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
I will let you go first because, like you said, you do bring your A game.
Okay.
Because this is a part where a lot of people that I've talked to, they love this part because of what we talk about and the different things we ask people to check out and try, for everyone's, betterment.
Okay, good. Good. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. So, my
Go.
feedback for this week is we talked about TED recently, ideas worth sharing. So, TED's a series of basically short online presentations that people give, people that are well known in their fields, basically anyone that's got an idea worth sharing from different walks of life. But there's also a little subsection of TED. It's called The Way We Work. Where little 5-10 minute segments of people talking about ways you can improve your professional life.
Sounds good.
Not bad. And the one I saw today, which I thought was awesome, and I thought, great, this is exactly what I want to talk about in the show. It's the secret to giving great feedback. Okay, so the presenter that goes through it, she's a psychologist, cognitive psychologist, and she talks a little bit about how doctors have their toolkit, engineers might have their toolkit, other people with their professions have their own toolkit, right, to go into work. And most people don't have a toolkit, but one really, probably the most useful tool is the ability to give and receive feedback. So, it talks a little bit about feedback and how most people give it, which is a very ineffective way. So, most people will give feedback in a way that's perceived as sort of offensive, and people become defensive when they.
Or negative even. Yeah,
Exactly.
correct.
So, what it does is the amygdala, the part that sort of perceives emotions in our brain, it searches for social cues, right? And whenever you give feedback, if it's delivered in a way that automatically puts you on the defensive, it doesn't perceive it in a good way, right?
Yeah, so you kind of like, dig in the trenches, so to speak,
Exactly.
in defense.
So
Yeah.
they went into a workplace, or several workplaces, and they found people that were known for giving good feedback. Then they brought them into a controlled environment and then determined what it is they do that people perceive as good feedback received by these people. So it turns out there's a formula. I'm going to go through it right now, really quickly. It's a breakdown of 4 steps. Okay. First step is creating a micro yes situation where you basically open up the channel to someone and say, hi, would you be open to discussing this thing? Or, hey, do you reckon we could have a chat about this particular scenario? What it does is it lets the other person know something is coming, so they're ready for it, but they're not being attacked full on. And it also gives them the ability to say no if they want to. Now,
Yeah, because then they don't feel forced into a
e-
corner situation.
exactly. So step two, it talks about the concept of blur words. So avoiding blur words. So a blur word might be you're defensive, and instantly someone's going to say, "Whoa, okay, I am going to be
I'm
defensive
not
right now."
Yeah, self-fulfilling almost.
Exactly. So rather than using these blur words, the better approach is to use specific examples. For example, hey, remember that time when we discussed feedback and you weren't particularly responsive to it? So rather than just having a word that instantly puts them on the defensive, in this case, the word is defensive, it gives an example where they can think it through. It's specific, so they know exactly what you're talking about. That's step two. Step three. So you with me so far?
Yeah,
Yep.
yep, yep. No, this is, very
Yeah,
relevant.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's good for workplaces. It's good for any situation where you need to give
It's
feedback.
I was gonna say it's good for personal, and that's where generally feedback's very hard to give.
Exactly.
When you're talking with friends or family, that's always very difficult
Exactly.
as well.
Exactly. And it's with family, it's so much easier just to be blunt and full on. And imagine how that's received, right? I mean, the guard goes
Yep,
up, people aren't
yep.
really listening at that point because the amygdala has already put up this barrier which says I'm not feeling that right now.
And that barrier could have been there from previous times anyway, because built up
Oh,
given,
totally.
how often you
Totally.
tend
A
to
lot of it
speak,
can be
so
learned, a lot
very
of it can
difficult.
be innate. Now, third step is then so micro yes, get them to buy in. Two, make sure you avoid blur words and use
Yeah.
specific examples. And then number three, there's the impact statement. Okay, so the impact statement is where you talk about the impact of that action. So rather than just saying it was bad, you actually say because of that particular action, for example, where you weren't receptive to that item of feedback I gave you, the defensiveness, because of that action, I wasn't able to achieve this said task or we weren't able to achieve this particular deadline. Okay.
So you remove the personal aspect, like, it's not them specifically, it's what they did. So it removes kinda
Yeah. And
isolates
then
it.
the end impact of that particular act
Yeah.
they took, right? So micro yes, avoid the blur words by giving specific examples, then laying on the impact statement. So the impact of you doing that is
Yep.
what's happened and what's occurred here. Final, number 4 is wrap up with a question. So that question might be, so what are your thoughts on that? Or how did you see that happening? What it does is it puts it back on them, makes a more collaborative sort of view of the whole situation
Yeah.
rather than sound like you're just barking orders at this particular person. So that those
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
steps 1, 2, 3, 4. And the final little bit of information in there is anyone who is good at giving feedback also needs to be good at receiving feedback. So they don't just not just good at receiving it, but they go out and ask for it. So that's just another behavior that's basically contributes to people.
Well, you're leading by example in a way, right? Because if you leave yourself open, then they know that you know that whole thing about people, yeah, taking it and dishing it. Maybe it's slightly different context, but it just shows that you're
And it's allowing you to
yeah,
continuously grow as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty relevant to anyone that's in any work environment, but also anyone that's in any situation where they're giving feedback or receiving feedback. And it's not just that you want to be nice to people, it's also going to be the most effective way to sort of get you what you want in a particular situation without ruffling too many feathers. So that was my little, you should try this. The secret to giving feedback, if you want to check out more, I did get it from from TED. So ted.com
yeah.
slash talks. And it's all on there. Just look up the secret of giving feedback. You'll find it. It's good.
No, that's really good. That's something I think I personally need to be a lot better at is because generally, especially professionally, is when I should be giving feedback, I end up not doing it, but that's doing a disservice to me and the other person. It's almost like just kind of letting it be
For
and you're
sure.
advocating it in a way,
For sure.
accommodating it. So it's not really helping out. So that's really good.
And I think lots of people don't
In terms
don't
of-
do that because maybe they don't have that formula there where you can give it to someone constructively. Because lots of people aren't good at giving feedback, and they think, well, if I mention that, they're automatically going to get offended. But if you give it in a way that's structured like that, then it's going to be effective and also hopefully not offend the other person.
Yeah, and also you're just keeping it objective because one fear is you don't want to hurt the other person or you don't want to offend, yeah, like you said, offend them. So it's no, it's really good. So hopefully we can some people will be able to try that and see how it goes. Or maybe just even do a test run,
Test run.
just to practice.
Do it in a low stake situation, someone you don't really know or someone you want to give it to, feedback at the shops or something. But use it or not. We're not trying to force this onto people, but that's my little thing that I wanted to share with you. Mate, I've gone
That's
first.
cool.
Now that was I got very I'm presenting this is Teddy doing a presentation on TED. But
Yep.
now it is your
Yep.
turn, my friend. Handing over to you.
Oh, why? Thank you, Teddy. And my thing to try this week, it's something quite simple and small, and it's kind of you can do with it what you wish, and it sounds you know quite quite benign, but it's words of affirmation. You might have heard the phrase, where you're using positive words. Generally, it's in a like in a relationship sense or with friends, like saying it to other
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
But what I'm suggesting is to actually say it to yourself. And I'm not talking, I mean, you could do it, but like looking in a mirror and saying, "Hey, you're really good looking, you're a really cool guy," or anything like you could do that, but I mean, that's not really what I mean because it does sound a bit it, yeah, I won't it just sounds funny. Like if you think like that's what you think when people go like that, or like um in the movie you'd look, are you talking to me type thing. But no, not really. What I'm more
Have you seen
talking
Cool
about
Runnings, the
is
movie?
I love Cool Runnings, the movie. I love
You
that
look in
movie.
that mirror and you tell me what you see. So no, I'm
Yeah.
taking away from the point. Keep going. Keep going.
No, 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 no. It's like that's what people think, right? And generally, people are very good at saying to other people, especially when caring. We're talking to other people, saying, you stay positive. There's light in the tunnel, and we help other people as well, right? But this is for people to help themselves, and saying something like this, it could be something really small, like you wake up and like for example, I have a really big list of different things that I sometimes will say when I wake up or sometimes during the day. Like quite often we might think, oh, I'm very happy that I've got this, or, I have control in my life. But I'm talking like certain phrases, I won't go through all of them, but like a couple examples is, you wake up and you say, I am the architect of my life. I build its foundation and choose its contents. And, today I am full of energy and today will be a good day. And like little things like this, like if you Google literally words of affirmation, there are generally different lists, and I do have a list of about 40. But it's there's a lot of benefits. Like, not only is it motivational, like if you say I'm hardworking, you probably will end up actually working hard because you're kind of reinforcing it in yourself. Quite often we might think, oh, I'm just lazy, or, I'm not good, or I'm not good at this, or whatever it may be. So the thoughts kind of then manifest into actions. And the studies kind of show, like, obviously it raises your confidence, it controls your negative feelings, it improves your self-esteem. You'll actually be able to finish things. And especially in times like this, when a lot of us, pretty much stuck in our own houses and with ourselves, it just kind of will help, or hopefully help, eventually, increase that positivity and just make the day better, and just to kind of get through, and improve your quality of life. So that's just something small, but like I said, you can kind of carry it through as much as you want. Some people write it down every morning. Some people have a affirmation wall where they'll write these things and stick it in front of them. Like so every morning you wake up, you go to the bathroom, it's right there, and you just kind of continually reiterating this
Yeah, look,
all these
it
statements.
definitely points people in the right direction. I don't think it's ridiculous at all. And different people do it to different levels, definitely. It's
Yep,
similar to what I
yep.
was talking about with obviously the Hugh Jackman
Yeah, correct,
interview.
correct. That's what made me realize that that's something that I was doing
Yeah,
that I hadn't brought up.
he kind of told, he was talking about how he does it, but then he was talking about how he nearly did the opposite of it when he was talking about going and doing The Greatest Showman, and he said to himself, "Yeah, look, I'll give it a go." But when you say something like "you give it a go," you're pretty much painting the path of I'm only going to put in half the effort here. If
Correct,
you're
yes.
all in, then you're pointing. You've already set the compass towards a direction that you plan on navigating your life or whatever you're doing that day, right? So,
Yep,
you might not be the best looking person, but if you're going to say you're the hardest working person, and every other day you might not be, the day you say you're the hardest working person, you're going to be going in that same direction. So, I think it's definitely good. The level, everyone does it to different levels, but no, that's awesome. So you do that a little bit, do you?
yeah, yeah. Because sometimes, and look, we're all this happens to all, I think, most of us, where sometimes you, during a day, or sometimes you wake up not feeling like 100%, and you start thinking about, like, what are you doing, where are you going? And then the thing is, like with social media, for example, that's really kind of cast a big disparity between reality and fantasy, right? For a lot of people, because a lot of people see that certain people go, "Oh, I wish I could be like them." I'm not saying I'm like that, but I've seen people kind of fall into that trap. So this is just kind of to take it away from them and bring it about yourself, and focus on yourself, and be like, "This is what I have. This is what I want to do," and to have kind of belief in yourself, and just focus on your positives. Like you said, you might not be looking like Hugh Jackman or Brad Pitt, but you might be working hard. You might be good at anything, literally anything. It's just reiterating that, so that you kind of focusing on this, just the positives,
Yeah,
and not worrying
it's
about
setting you in a
comparing yourself
direction.
to others.
It's definitely setting you in a direction. It doesn't mean everything's going to come true, but if you're going in that path, it's going to be a lot more positive than going in a path that is maybe not going to be helpful. So I think that's kind of what you're saying, and I reckon
Yeah.
everyone's going to take a little something from that for sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's, yeah, and everyone can take it and try it, and I mean, they don't have to try it, but just little things just to help through these times.
And that's our little
So
tips for the week. So look, Tony, that's the end of another episode. Now you've always got some parting words for us. How are you feeling about the show? What are the parting words for the week?
So I think, once again, I've really enjoyed this week. I always love how quick time passes. Like, I mean, obviously we're looking at the time, and it just goes so quick. And I love being able to talk with you. I Like we've talked about before, this is our favorite time of the week. And I guess for the parting words, something that's very similar to what I just mentioned with the affirmation is actually, quite often, I don't know about you, but sometimes during the day, I'll think, oh, I'm really appreciative I've got certain things in my life. But to maybe formalize it as such, that this is something I realize my partners does, is actually writing down three things that you appreciate at the end of the day,
Yeah,
and just write it
yeah,
down.
love it.
And
Like almost like a gratitude
that
journal, but capping it off. Yeah,
correct. Correct, just capping off the day. So you start off with maybe the affirmation, and you end up with
for
appreciation.
sure. And mate, you're going to bed thinking about, if you do it at the end of the day, you're going to bed thinking about, you're more likely to be thinking about things you're grateful for than things that you're worried about.
Correct.
Thank you for those parting words. And we're going to head off into the sunset. It's the first week of spring. I'm feeling good. I know you're feeling good as well. We're going to be back next
Yeah.
week with another episode. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in.